I asked you recently on Modern World Facebook what you wanted to hear in these vlogs, and I got quite a few answers back, and some of them were actually quite similar. So we're going to take a look at those. One of the main questions was what happens when things go horribly awry? You're doing everything right, you're chasing your dreams, you're following your path, and yet everything breaks at once, or the bills are just piling up, and you've lost your job, or suddenly there's a sickness in the family. All this kind of stuff happens. What's the universe trying to say, especially when you're doing everything right? The other thing I want to talk about is what happens when you've done what you feel you were put here to do, and that's complete, and now you don't know where to go from here. The universe hasn't sent you your marching orders, so you're stuck in this limbo. What happens then? So let's talk about the whole horribly awry thing first. Sometimes stuff just happens. It doesn't matter what kind of planning you do. It doesn't matter what effort you take to avoid certain things. Sometimes stuff just happens, and you're kind of building up your dealing with muscles. And you're dealing with muscles you're building up so that you can handle bigger and better things. Now often we'll think, well, why did this happen to me? I didn't do anything to deserve this. And if you track back, well, sure you did. I have lung cancer, so how can I have that? And I did not. You smoked all your life. That's why you have lung cancer. Um, I got into this horrible car wreck, and you were texting. That's why you got in that horrible car wreck. Different things like that. The pipes broke on the house that we just bought. That's not my fault. You really didn't get it inspected. Sometimes, you dig deeper, and you'll find out actually you are responsible for almost everything that happens to you. So take that responsibility. And once you take that responsibility, you can begin to correct that. I remember driving through Texas with this old motorhome that I had on my way out to a festival, or no, actually back from, it was one of my first years on the road, back, and we were driving through Texas to Florida, and my motorhome blew. Nothing I could do about it, so we pulled off at the closest place, and we stopped at this rest stop, and actually at this truck stop, and we're eating, and we were talking about it, and the guy behind us heard us, and he's a guy that fixes engines. So we wound up leaving it there with this guy that I'd never met before, leaving it with him, and taking off. Of course, we exchanged numbers and all that. We didn't have cell phones back then, but we exchanged numbers and addresses. Got back in touch with him, and when time it was for me to come back out on the road next year, it was done and ready. So it was fortunate that it happened then. It could have happened while I was driving. It could have happened at the worst times. Sometimes they do happen at the worst times so that you can learn how to deal with that. So that next time you can help somebody else who's dealing with that. So sometimes things go horribly awry because the universe is trying to say, move on from this thing. You don't belong here. Or it's saying, how bad do you want this? It's up to you to figure it out. And you're smart people. You will. Now, the marching orders. You've done everything you needed to do, and suddenly you're left with nothing. Take a breather. Enjoy the space. Enjoy the non-distraction, and be with yourself. And that's a very hard thing to do. Learn to be with yourself. Learn to be present with yourself. Meditate, pray, connect with the universe, connect with God, however you want to do it. But learn to do that. And then seek your joy. What is that thing that makes you feel good? Use that as almost like a radar. Use it as your spidey sense. I've always wanted to do this thing. This makes me feel good. Explore that. That good feeling may be that still small voice inside of you that the universe is screaming out, that God is screaming out. This is what you're going into next, because I want you to be happy, and I want you to be joyful, and I want you to share that joy with the world. So use that as your spidey sense and figure out what that next thing is. There you go. I hope you enjoyed it. You asked for it. I gave it to you. Welcome to my modern world.